So as if sales tax is not confusing enough, there's a whole nother layer when it comes to tickets with amusement tax. So what is kind of the difference between sales tax and amusement tax? And kind of, can you just sort of explain a little bit more about amusement tax?
Yeah, so there is a whole nother group of taxes that are called amusement taxes. Some places actually call them admissions taxes, and they are not sales taxes. They're typically not collected by the state government. They're typically collected by a local city or local county government, and they're calculated separately. They're also oftentimes taxed differently than we might tax or the state might tax that particular item. They have come up much more often in tickets than they do in running registrations. That's not to say that there can't be a place that would also tax a running registration for admissions tax, but that's rare. It's unusual. It's much more usual to find that on a ticket. So it's a different class of taxes. Typically, it's administered by a city or by a county, and it's not the same as a sales tax.
Now, are there any places RunSignup does collect amusement taxes?
There really is only one today that we do that, and that is the City of Chicago, the City of Chicago amusement tax. And we have found that most ticketable events in the city, if they're for entertainment, if they're even for some types of sports like bowling and golf, that amusement tax will apply on that. There are a number of exemptions that are available for nonprofit organizations, but for-profit organizations that put on events in the city of Chicago, they will often be subject to the Chicago amusements tax. RunSignup does collect and remit Chicago amusements tax on behalf of events that are held in the city of Chicago. That today really is the only local entity or local governing body for which we currently collect a amusement or admissions tax. We do make functionality available now through other fees where you can set up an admission or amusement tax. If you know about it, it will show up separately on the cart. You can define it. You can put in the percentage tax that you want to collect. But we will collect that tax as part of that transaction, but we'll remit that back to you, and you'll be responsible for the return, the reporting, and the remittance over to that governing body.
So the extra fees, if you're wondering, on the TicketSignup platform, on the dashboard, if you go to financial and then extra fees, that's where you can set up what Kevin was mentioning about if you think you have to charge any type of amusement tax and you're not in Chicago. And that's when we will remit the taxes back to you, and it'll be your responsibility to remit those taxes.
Correct. That's right.
Now, if you host an event and you think you have an amusement tax that you want to charge that's not and you're not in Chicago, is it worthwhile for them to reach out to us and we can kind of follow up with Avalara to see kind of dig more into that particular county?
Yeah, so it would be interesting for us to know. This is an area that we're trying to become more knowledgeable about, to see if we can build more functionality into our system to make it easier for events to collect those kind of taxes. So you can send an email if you're aware of one of those admissions or amusement taxes. You can send an email to, where do we want to send it to? Info@runsignup.com with the information about that amusements tax or that admissions tax. And we'll start to gather that information and figure out whether or not there's a way to be able to create a matrix for that and even make that information available to other events that hold their event in that same different taxing jurisdiction.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.